right, I'm back. It's noon on Thursday. Didn't know if I was going to make it, but it's been a weird week. We've had a kiddo homesick, so that's kind of thrown off a lot of the productivity. But anyways, I made it. Hope everybody's doing all right. I think so for this one. I'm going to kind of do this backwards. I actually started, again, these these live videos are a pretty interesting challenge for me because I'm a recovering perfectionist and I overthink everything. I'm super self-conscious. I work slowly. These are all things that you don't want if you're going to be recording yourself drawing live. So, for this one, I wanted to at least figure out what I was going to do beforehand. I'd rather save save you guys from watching me trip over myself and try to come up with a concept. Sometimes that's easy, sometimes not. I go in circles a lot. Let me adjust my lighting real quick. Here, let's see. It's a little bit better. So I was only going to do a quick sketch and then do the actual drawing live, but I couldn't stop. I kept kind of going. So I actually drew the whole thing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to redraw it and show you my process. So I hope that's interesting. Swimming pool is the prompt. At first I didn't like that prompt because nothing immediately came to mind that I could draw. Of course, plenty of stuff comes to mind because I grew up with a swimming pool and did a lot of stupid things like jumping off my roof into the swimming pool, falling off the roof into the swimming pool, all that fun stuff. But I just couldn't, there wasn't really an image that came to mind that I wanted to draw. So I grabbed one of our underwater cameras that we use in our pool today with the kids, and they shoot all kinds of video and photos. Most of it's horrible, out of focus, but I went through and looked at some of that stuff, but I didn't really see anything that I wanted to draw yet. So anyways, I came up with this kind of weird idea of just having a large floating head. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I was going to I started putting sailboats around it, but it doesn't really feel like a pool. It started to feel like the ocean. So I immediately kind of thought of, doing cannonballs into a pool is perfect. So I decided to incorporate a kid jumping into this head full of water, which the head is also in a pool. I don't know. It's like a double pool kind of thing. So there you have it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to jump in. I'm going to erase that, and I'll show you what I'm doing. So sometimes when I'm really lazy and I don't want to figure out how to draw a head, there are websites where you can just kind of look at a 3D model of a head. There's all kinds of different heads and head shapes and male, female, whatever. And you can actually interact with the head and rotate it and get the right angle. So that's kind of what I did, and that's what we're looking at now. So I'm gonna go ahead and just ditch the background on it. Looks like I still have a bunch of, let me just get rid of all that. Oops. Okay. And might as well go grayscale. I think for Inktober, one of the constraints is I just want to keep everything black and white. Obviously, you can add color. There are no real rules. People get so fucking weird on Inktober trying to shame people into following their interpretation of what Inktober is, and like, why do you do that? It's not necessary. Who cares? But so you could use color, but I'm gonna stick to black and white. And so here's the deal. So I'm drawing with an old Wacom tablet. Let's see. So I'm gonna just start masking off the head, and I kind of want the water line to just be under the ear and the nose. So we're gonna get rid of that. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and just adjust the levels on this because I want it to be as white as possible. I'm gonna draw over it anyways. And I could probably still go. Yeah, okay. That works for me. So I'm just gonna put, I don't know, I'm just gonna do a couple of details, but nothing crazy. Just enough of a suggestion. I'm just using, I think this is Kyle's drawing box. It's I think this might be one of the brushes from that loads default with Photoshop. But I might have gotten it before Kyle's brushes became incorporated, before Adobe essentially hired him and bought all of his brushes and started providing him as default brushes. Just nothing too precise here. I like to include some kind of random geometric lines, or just stronger shapes. This was a woman's head, as you kind of saw, but it clearly is not a woman's head anymore. That's okay. I didn't really have a preference on that. I have a long history of making women look like dudes in my drawings. I did a video about that probably a couple weeks ago. And that wasn't even really about faces. That was mostly about like physique and drawing women in life drawing and just kind of adding too many muscles and yeah, them turning into men. Whoa there. Okay, we don't need any of that, I guess. I'm using the keyboard shortcut that I learned only recently to change your brush temporarily into an eraser, but the key is it uses the same brush shape when you're in eraser mode. So that's actually really nice. If it switched to the eraser and had a different brush shape, it would look all fucked up because you'd have like a hard edge for the eraser and you'd have a nice like, you know, graphite edge for the brush, and that's not what I'm going for ever. I never want that. Okay, that's enough. I'm not gonna... Let's just put... Okay. I think the next part here, and just to show you guys where we're headed again, I'm going to try to cut the head off at some point where it feels natural. natural to decapitate somebody. It's most natural to place that cut right here. Okay, so I'm just going to put the head right there. I like to, even for quick drawings, I have I'm kind of compulsive about naming my layers, so I think that's always a good idea. And you know, you don't have to type a whole long word. Sometimes I use 3 character kind of codes that I know, just to keep things short, like shadow. I'll just put like SHD or SHDW, or even just SH. Okay, so I'm not gonna mask this, I'm just gonna paint over it and try to figure out where the center line is and go with that. And then where would this... Yeah, sure, let's try that. Oops. Yeah, we'll make it more like a box. All right. All right, what's going on? Again, kind of roughing this in. I'm more interested in the concept for this and less interested about like my line work, which is usually the opposite. I'm always more interested in making a nice looking drawing, and that's a problem. It's another just bad habit. I'm gonna create a separate layer for my ripples in the pool, just in case I totally fuck them up. I can easily go back. Whoops, man. Good Jesus. Guess that's okay. I'm gonna do some ripples for the head. I'll probably do them in, yeah, I guess like a darker gray. I first just need to figure out, yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna go for. now we have our one kid got sick last week, is better, and now our other child is claiming he's sick this morning. Of course, about a half an hour after breakfast, he's like, "Oh, I think I'm good." Thanks a lot for faking. We were doing so good about limiting TV before COVID. That's like we try to do our best, but it's kind of gotten more, I don't know. We've gotten pretty loose about that now. Especially since we both my wife and I both work from home. And we just need time for them to not bug us. I don't know if these ripples are looking good or not, or convincing. I swear, I probably hit undo more than more than anything else. I'm like progressively undoing every drawing I make. Okay, I'm gonna jump in with the no pun intended, with the kid. I'm just gonna, again, we can, if anybody wants to have a conversation about using tracing reference material, there's a time and place for that. I'm doing it because I wanted to get to my I wanted to see my idea sooner than later, and I didn't want to have to fumble with trying to draw a head correctly, and I don't want to try to figure out how to draw a kid in a cannonball position. I could figure it out, but I don't want to spend the time. Like, that's not where I'd rather, take a shortcut and just do this, and as long as I'm not copying this photo exactly and having it look photorealistic and recognizable and traceable back to the source, like, this isn't going to be a big deal, because you're going to see we're just doing something quick here. This actually reminds me, this head and the black and white, there was an artist back in the early 2000s, actually, like exactly the year 2000, and he did all these really awesome interactive flash self-portraits. His name is Han Hugerbrug. I don't know how to say his name, but that's as good as I'm gonna get. And they were genius, and he was using Flash to do all the interaction. And at that time, I was big into Flash, and it's funny that I'm talking about that now, because Flash is officially dead. I can't remember when it was. I think like last year is when it got killed. But when it came out, it was mind blowing. It was like one of the coolest pieces of software, and go ahead, go. From like for animation and for doing interactive things, and even just drawing, because it was like the first program that would like if you drew a line, it would kind of try to straighten it out for you. Illustrator does that now, but that Illustrator didn't have a lot of these like vector drawing capabilities back then. So even just use Flash for drawing was so rad. But anyways, this guy did these really creative and fun like interactive self portraits where you could like he was always in a suit, and then you could click on different things, whether it's him that you're clicking on or something that he's holding or whatever, and there were something would happen, and it was always most of what he was doing was kind of comical. There was some humor to it, but there was also a lot of it was called Modern Living, and it was a lot of it I think was social commentary on just the neuroses, the neurotic nature of life, and anyways, that just this guy kind of came up in conversation just recently, and I unfortunately all of those interactive things, like, you can't even watch them now because there's no, like, the Flash player is not supported in a browser. So yeah, there technically is a way. I found an emulator, a Flash emulator, but I'm not going to go into that right now. That is quite a mouth on this guy. Okay, let's start that over. Actually, let's do this. Now it looks like a puppet. Let's just put some gray. Actually, let's do this. Let's go back here a step. Let's just make him gray to begin with. Oops. That's a fun little trick if you want to draw, if you're, if you have a layer that you're drawing on top of another layer, but you want to use it, you want to use the bottom layer as a mask, you can just roll over that little, the line between the two layers, and Option Command click it, and it becomes linked to that layer, that bottom layer, and that bottom layer acts like a mask, even though it's not technically a mask. I did not explain that well at all. Here comes Nancy using a stylus. Yeah, I mean, when I'm using my Wacom tablet, I always have one hand on the key, my left hand's on the keyboard, so that I can adjust, do shortcuts and stuff. And then stylus in the other hand. Okay, I think the only thing missing, I'm going to add a couple of, I just got to get like maybe some highlights here. Okay, let's see how close we are to the original that I did. You know, yeah, kinda. Okay, maybe what I'll do is add a little bit of shading. So this is another Kyle brush called New Pastel, and so it's, you know, influenced or inspired by New Pastels, and it's got like a nice grit to it. Oops. All right, I think that's weird enough. Let's see. I'm gonna use that trick again where I use the, I make the bottom layer a mask. So one thing I don't have is that like transparency of the figure in the water, which maybe, you know, maybe that's kind of cool. Let me try to bring that back. Let's see. How could I do that? I could. There we go. I'm not going to explain what I did, but well, okay, maybe I will. All I did was level adjust the mask that was on the head, so that the black area, which was erasing or hiding the head, I changed that black to like gray, and by changing it to gray, it made that part of the figure kind of show up again. I guess that's kind of cool, but the problem is now I've got, yeah. What's going on there? How do I? Oh. Let's see. Here's where now I'm officially lost in my own mask. So that's doing that. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. There we go, fixed. Okay, so where are we at? Huh, yeah, it's interesting. The original one's more on, it's on like a darker gray, which is kind of nice. I might go for that. Oh, but then I'm gonna have that other, yeah. Yeah, and that's not, I'm gonna keep it black. That feels more Inktober-ish. And then final, I think the final layer. Let's see. I don't know if I'm trying to suggest that the head is shattering. I mean, that's kind of what it seems like is going on here. Did I go overboard on that? Yeah, probably. Let's back that up. Let's see if maybe there's a bigger one. Okay. Let's see. What if these ripples, I wonder if these ripples need to be lighter. Sure. All right, I think that's it. I was trying to, one of the other constraints for, or rules that I was setting up was to incorporate the type, like incorporate the prompt, the actual text into the drawing, but I think that's going to be stupid here. I think that was working for the drawings on paper, but yeah, that'd be dumb. Let me ask Nancy. Should I try to incorporate the prompt or not? And are you still watching? Maybe not. I know there's a delay. So, okay, well, here's my, I mean, this is pretty much my swimming pool. Here, let me go full screen here. And as you can see, it's like, you know, it's pretty rough, and that was intended. I was, you know, way more interested in the concept, so there you have it. If you have any questions about the process or what I did or why I'm cheating with tracing over reference photos, what the font choice is everything. Yeah, that's why I'm not going to do you're just supposed to, Nancy's supposed to just say no, don't put the type in, because I will definitely ruin it. But yeah, let me know. I guess I kind of sped through this in a half an hour, which is pretty good. It's just important to note that I didn't come up with, you know, this took me a lot longer than a half an hour because I drew it ahead of time. I kind of spent some time thinking about different ideas. So anyways, now I'm just kind of rambling, but thanks for hanging out. These are actually really cool. You know, as nervous and anxious as I get before, you know, clicking the go live button, they're really fun. I hope I can, you know, I hold myself accountable and do these and not miss them and not come up with any shitty or lame excuse to bail on any particular week, because I think the important thing here is to stay committed to this, or, you know, to something, and this is you know, ultimately it's fun, and it's great. It's really good practice. So it's good practice for whether you're trying to figure out a technique or just it's a good excuse to come up with maybe some conceptual pieces. So I know my first one was not really conceptual, it was just a dog drooling. My second one, a little bit more interesting with octopus tentacles. I'd say this one's like the most conceptual of all of them, or most you know, it feels like it's an illustration, like there's something more behind it. But anyways, thanks again. I'll see you guys next week, and be good.